recording for YouTube. Okay, so first and foremost, it was tough for me to really break down the top 50 games. Realistically, I have 60 on this list. I have 10 honorable mentions, and that's because those were games that I had listed out, and I just could not eliminate them from the list. I think they all deserve to have a mention. So, go ahead and get started with those honorable mentions. Honorable mentions. You can't see the one behind my face cam, but that is WarioWare Incorporated for the Game Boy Advanced. The second best Game Boy game of all time. Not going to argue with anyone on that. I mean, it is what it is. I also have Peggle 2, one of the best Xbox 360 games. Dead Space 2, the best Dead Space game. Probably the best true horror game, in my opinion. Galaga is an interesting one. I fucking love Galaga. I really wanted to be in the top 50. I could not get rid of any of the others in my top 50 and replace Galaga there. Crackdown, one of my favorite games. I remember playing it as a kid, just being a super soldier cop for some reason. That was just cool as fuck to me as a kid. 7 Days to Die. 7 Days to Die is a game that I have gone back and forth playing for years. I've actually only ever played it on console too, which I know is the shitty version. I've put endless amounts of hours into 7 Days to Die, alone and with friends. It's one of the best horror survival zombie apocalypse games, in my opinion. One of the best Minecraft clones, if you want to call it that. Fight Night Round 3, in my opinion, the best fighting game of all time. Fighting sports game. It's Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat X are arguably better, but for me personally, I spent a lot of time in Fight Night Round 3. Fusion Frenzy, growing up as an Xbox kid, this was pretty much my Mario Party, and it was a ton of fun. And probably 5 years ago or so, re-downloaded it because it was on Game Pass, played it with my buddies, just getting drunk and playing that. It was such a blast still. It holds up to this day. Forza Horizon 4, not to spoil it too much, but it's my second, it's my third highest ranked racing game of all time. Forza Horizon 4, I put so much time and effort into it. It's definitely the Forza game that I played the most, and it's not even close. And then MX Unleashed. Unironically, we just listened to Headstrong. That wasn't planned, that just randomly popped up on my Spotify. But just listening to Headstrong on basically 24-hour loop, playing MX Unleashed. Great soundtrack. Absolutely great game. And I just remember playing this game so much as a, through my childhood. Not going to spend too much time on the honorable mentions because obviously they did not make it to the top 50. But without further ado, let's get started on the top 50. Number 50, Twisted Metal Black. Now, this game was fucking peak as a child, and also it screwed my head. It scared the fuck out of me. Anyone that played this game knows it is or for those of you who I guess who don't know what it is, this is a game where it's essentially a giant demolition derby. There's different characters who have different cars, different abilities or whatnot, and your goal was to destroy the other drivers. Sounds simplistic, I know, but it was so much fun, and you could unlock different characters, and when you unlocked those characters, they had like intro movies, and those intro movies as a kid scared the shit out of me, because they were fucked up. They were like straight out of a horror movie-esque stuff. But Sweet Tooth, the clown that you see on the cover is one of the best video game characters of all time. He drives an ice cream truck, which is pretty rad. I never watched the Twisted Metal show that came out. For those of you that don't know, I think Amazon Prime came out with a Twisted Metal show, and it was based off of these games. I heard the show wasn't too good, though. I haven't watched it, but maybe I'll check it out. Number 49. Super Monkey Ball. Primarily the original. All of the early ones were good, though. But Super Monkey Ball was such a good, like, party system game. I have vivid memories of sitting down with my brother when I was a kid, playing Super Monkey Ball, doing like the mini games like bowling and mini golf, and just playing the game. I even have, you know, memories of playing this as, you know, my entire family would sit down and play this. It was just a fun game. I think they tried to remake Super Monkey Ball a couple of years ago, and I don't think it was very good. I didn't play it, but I know they tried to revitalize the franchise, and I do not think that it worked very well for them. But nonetheless, game from my childhood. It was so much fun, and I would play this again. Number 48. This is probably the most obscure one on my list. The one that you just had to be there. Number 48 is Toy Story 2, the video game. This was kind of, I don't want to say it was an action platformer. It was pretty much like a linear open world kind of action platformer in a way. It was such a fucking fun game as a kid. This was for the original PlayStation, so the PlayStation 1. Back before you had analog sticks. But just playing this game, I remember, you know, going through the first level. You're in Andy's room. You got to get through there. Then you go to the backyard, and there's the first boss fight you have is with a toy plane. I know this all sounds stupid, but I'm telling you, this was peak video games when I was a kid. And again, this is a game where I would play it again to this day. Number 47. Madden 2004. Now, for anyone who does not know the lore of me, I played in semi-professional Madden tournaments when I was a teenager for a long time. I was very good at Madden growing up, and then obviously in those tournament days. But Madden 2004, this is way before my tournament days that I would play. This is the best Madden game of all time. I don't care what anyone says. Madden 11 is a close second for me. And then you go with like Madden 25 and Madden 17. Those were like my tournament day Maddens. But without a doubt, 2004 Madden was the most fun I've ever had playing a football game. And Michael Vick was just completely broken. You could just run outside of the pocket, spin move, and it was a touchdown every time. Just playing old football games, they're so much better than what EA puts out today. I mean, with microtransactions, all that bullshit. But this game was untainted, and it was fantastic. Number 46. Now, this is the only mobile game on my list, and it is Clash of Clans. I know no one likes Supercell, and they're a terribly greedy company. They went through the whole Jinxie thing with Clash Royale. I never really played Clash Royale. Clash of Clans, though, was a fucking peak mobile game. I played Clash of Clans constantly when I was younger. I physically ruined 2 iPhone 4s because I played Clash of Clans for so long, you know, consistently, that it actually like burnt the inside of the phone. And I did that on 2 of them. During the summer, I mean, there were times where I would play like 8 straight hours of Clash of Clans. It's not as good as it used to be. I haven't played Clash of Clans in a couple of years. I would occasionally go back and play like a month, then stop again. But I haven't played it in a while. It's just it's optimized terribly now with upgrades and upgrade times, and it's Supercell, so the microtransactions are just ridiculous now. But Clash of Clans, in its prime, was the best mobile game of all time, period. Angry Birds is probably a close second, but Angry Birds is not on my list. Number 45, Need for Speed Carbon. Now, the thing with Need for Speed Carbon is a lot of people did not like Need for Speed Carbon. This was one of the lower end Need for Speed games in a lot of people's opinions, but I fucking loved this game. It was so much fun. The idea of it, you started out and there were different like kingpins and rulers of the city, like pretty much gangs. And what you would do is you would do all the activities, the races in the area, and then you would have the opportunity to 1v1 the like the gang leader or the kingpin of that area. And if you won, you would get their car. And I always remember as a kid, the first thing I would ever do is I would go up and I would take out the Asian gang leader, because he had I believe it was a 98 RX-7, and that was like one of my favorite cars as a kid. So I always went and I always took that car first, then did the rest. But the downhill racing element of this was cool. This was one of the first games that I remember where like drifting was actually like a part of the game, not just running your car top speed, never hitting the brakes, slam against the wall and keep going. Like if you tried to do that, you can see kind of in the cover, but you would actually fall off of the mountain and lose the race. Great game though. Number 44. So I know this is kind of a dumb game in certain people's eyes, but this is legitimately, this is the newest game on the list. I've had so much fun playing Clover Pit in my time in and out of playing it. When I first started playing it, I watched Queso play it, and I got it that night. And I think Clover Pit, I only played Clover Pit for probably like 2 straight weeks. Like, it's such an addicting, good game. I fucking love this game. Enough said. If you don't know what this is, go check it out on the Steam store. But essentially, it's like a... Oh, trying to think of a good. It's essentially like an RPG style game where you have to buy certain items to improve your odds of winning on the slots, and then you have a deadline. If you don't hit the deadline, you die, so on and so forth. It's a fantastic game. It's very simple, but it's very good. Now, this is another game. Number 43, The Godfather 2. If you've never played this game, that sucks, because this was such a peak game when I was a kid. Essentially, it mimics the Godfather 2 movie, but what you do is you take over businesses, you take out rival families, and you're essentially supposed to take over the city. You go to a couple different cities, but there's New York, Florida, and Cuba you end up going to in the game. And on top of this, this was, I think, the first game I played that had boobs in it. So yeah, that was peak, because who doesn't love fucking boobs? But this game was so good. If they, which they'll never do, but if they were to like remaster this game, I would put endless amounts of hours into it. It was such a good game. Number 42, I have spent a lot of time in this universe, in the Mass Effect universe. Arguably my favorite trilogy of all time. Actually, now that I think, no, this is my number 1 video game trilogy of all time. This is the original Mass Effect, so the first one in the trilogy. This was one of the first games in my life where I grinded the shit out of this game. I had multiple playthroughs. It was such a cool world. How you could set it up. It was a, fully customizable, basically RPG style game. Open world, open universe, I guess, or open galaxy, you could travel around. And the story behind it was just so fucking cool. Which obviously carries into the second and the third game, with the Reapers and everything like that. Commander Shepard, one of the best protagonists in any game. Ashley Williams, I always wanted to stick my bone in her, if you know what I mean. And then Rex and Garrus are two of the best supporting characters in any video game ever. Number 41 is Metro 2033. Original or Redux, it does not matter really. These were such good games. Between Metro 2033 and Last Light, we're going to leave Exodus off the list because Exodus sucks nuts. It is so fucking garbage. Last Light is fantastic too, and honestly, Last Light might be in my top 100 games of all time. I prefer 2033 because I like the being in the tunnels a little bit more than being on the surface level, which you do a lot more in Last Light. But for anyone that doesn't know, you're essentially in post-apocalyptic Russia, and it's called Metro because obviously everything that happened on the surface is unlivable through the first game and pretty much the second game, and you're essentially fighting through the tunnels. It's a cool ass concept. I think it's actually based off of a book. I think all these games are like book related, but one of the best solo single player games of all time. Speaking of single player games that were just so fucking peak, Star Wars Force Unleashed. If you've never played these games, the first and the second one's not as good. The fighting and the combat in the second one, I would say probably is better than the first, but the first one's story is fantastic, and this was probably, this and the second game, but primarily this one, is pretty much the only Star Wars game that I put an ass load of time into. And for obvious reasons. It was such a great game. Even, like, they did everything great. They did the collectibles great, and the collectibles were actually used for something. It would give you points to upgrade, or it would give you a different lightsaber color, so on and so forth. Just such a good game. If you don't know what it is, you're essentially Darth Vader's hidden apprentice. This guy. It's pretty low quality, I don't know why, but you're Darth Vader's secret apprentice, and essentially you're a Jedi hunter. You just go around and you just kill all the Jedi. And in the second game, I believe it's the second game, you kill, like, people from the actual story. Like, you kill Han Solo and Chewbacca, shit like that. But, yeah. It's such a great game. Number 39, this is the best Mario Kart of all time, and if you disagree with that take, you are wrong. Which, it's okay to be wrong, everyone has their opinions, but Mario Kart Double Dash, like, it was so good. Like, for anyone who's old enough to remember, you used to be able to go into McDonald's and play Mario Kart Double Dash on, like, a arcade style machine. It was so fucking cool. But essentially, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what Mario Kart Double Dash is. But for those that don't know, this was the first Mario Kart. You would have 2 people per car, and the person in the back would control, like, your items and whatnot. So good. I don't have to spend too much time on it because it's fucking Mario Kart. Everyone knows Mario Kart. 38. Left 4 Dead 2. This is the best zombie game of all time. You can argue with a brick wall if you want, but everyone knows that Left 4 Dead 2, if you've played it, was so good. You know, back on the 360, playing online was fantastic. Playing split screen with, you know, like your brother, sister, whatever, fantastic. Playing by yourself, fantastic. I actually booted this up probably like a year ago, and I actually played with my buddies online, and the game still holds up. It's still a fantastic game, especially you add mods into the mix, and it's funny as fuck. Like, I was playing as Patrick Star, but again, great game. 37, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Now, the thing about Super Smash Bros. Brawl, this is the Wii Smash Bros. If you're not familiar with it. This is by far the best. It's better than Melee and Ultimate. I don't even know. There might be a new one. I don't know if Ultimate is still the one for the Switch. I haven't touched my Switch in like 3 years. The story of this game was amazing, and then just playing on the couch with your buddies, your family, whatever, was amazing. Kirby, top tier character, underrated. That's who I always use because obviously I'm a huge Kirby fan. But there were so many good characters. This was the most balanced I think Smash has ever been to. And I don't know, like, everything with the I don't know the meta of Smash, and I don't watch professional Smash or anything like that. But I just remember every character in Brawl being really good, wherein I didn't play a lot of Melee, but there were overpowered characters in Melee, and then in, of course, Ultimate, they were just broken characters. Like, King Dedede is the most broken character. Maybe they changed it, I don't know, but I remember I used to spam the fuck out of him when I played Ultimate. Anyways, all that being said, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, fantastic. This is another obscure one that most people are not going to know, especially if you're under the age of like 30 pretty much. Wild Ones. So this was a Facebook game in like the late 2000s, early 2010s. If you've ever heard of the game Worms, it's essentially the same thing, except what you had in Wild Ones is you had individual animals, and they had special abilities, and they did different things. Like, you see the rabbit, the panda, the monkey. There was a chameleon. I believe the chameleon was who I used the most. But essentially, it's a PvP, and you just try and kill the other animal with different weapons and strategy and whatnot. And the gamma ray was the big weapon. If you used the gamma ray, you were a bitch. But this game was great. I wish it was still around. Like, I wish Steam would adopt this game somehow. I think people make like clones of it. I've never tried to play it. Maybe I should. I was addicted to this game. I wasn't allowed to have a Facebook when I was younger. And my friend introduced me to this game, and I created a fake Facebook profile just so I could play the Wild Ones. I played it every day after school. It was such peak gaming. It was so good. Honestly, it should be higher on the list with how much time I put into it. The only downside to Wild Ones was everyone in Asia was a hacker. And I'm not just saying that to be, like, exaggerate. Literally every time I got into a lobby with an Asian player, they were hacking. So that was the downside. Other than that, peak game. Number 35 is Donkey Kong Country. Again, this was a Game Boy Advance game. If you never played it, it's essentially just a side-scrolling Donkey Kong game. But if you've never played, you don't understand how great this game was. It was fun. It was hard. There was a lot of different things in the game. It wasn't just like you jump on someone's head and you keep going. There was a lot of variety in the game too. There were underwater levels. There were boss fights. You could like ride the rhinos and shit like that. It was so good. And I remember the boss fight with the bee. That was a pain in the dick. It was one of the last boss fights in the game. And if you grew up on this game, you know as well that the minecart levels were so fucking hard as a kid. Yeah. Regardless, great game. It was a fantastic game. Number 34. This is the second best Tom Clancy game of all time. And honestly, it could be argued that it's the best. I'm sure if you guys watch me, you know what my number one Tom Clancy game is going to be, which will be later on in the list. No spoilers, but it's literally all I fucking played pretty much. Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. This was the first Tom Clancy game that I played. This was the first Splinter Cell game that I played. If you never played Splinter Cell, you are Sam Fisher. You're like an ultra tier fucking assassin special agent. Think about like Hitman in a way, but way better. You just go around, you assassinate people. Yeah, enough said. If you've played Rainbow Six Siege, they call him Zero in the game. That's who this is. That's who this is based off of, Sam Fisher. And this was better than Pandora Tomorrow. I don't want to hear anyone say otherwise. I still have the special edition of this game. I think it's boxed up somewhere, but I have the metal giant fucking case that it came in. Number 33. Certain people are going to be mad that this is not higher on the list. Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas arguably is the single player game that I put the most time into as a like a teenager. I easily have over 1,000 hours into Fallout New Vegas. It was cool as fuck as a kid. This was the first Fallout game where you could like customize and modify your guns, put attachments on it. The story behind it was not my favorite in the Fallout universe, which is why it's not higher on the list. I hated the NCR. I hated Caesar's Legion. They made the Brotherhood of Steel out to be a bunch of fucking punk bitches in this game. Because I'm Team Brotherhood for life. But yeah, I mean, it really is. It's a great game. It probably should be higher on my list, but I think every game past this, I think peak for peak enjoyment is better in the other ones. Number 32 is Resident Evil 7. Now, I went back and forth whether to put Fallout New Vegas or Resident Evil 7, ahead of each other. Because I spent more time in Fallout New Vegas, without a doubt. It's an open world game with a lot of replayability, where Resident Evil 7, you really don't. But this game, the importance of this game was more important to this gaming realm than Fallout New Vegas was. And let me explain. Resident Evil 6, not 7, Resident Evil 6 was arguably the worst game I've ever played in my fucking life. And most people would agree with that. It's definitely the worst Resident Evil game. Resident Evil 7, this was the first time that they went to a first-person Resident Evil game, which was completely out of left field. When people first heard of Resident Evil 7 being first-person, a lot of people criticized them and said it was going to be terrible. But it ended up working, and it launched a second life for the Resident Evil franchise, which is arguably my favorite gaming franchise of all time. So many good Resident Evil games. Resident Evil 7 was scary. It looked fantastic. Had an amazing story. Great twists. and it revitalized a dying franchise. So, in terms of importance, it's more important than Resident Evil or Fallout New Vegas is. That's why it's one spot ahead of it. Number 31 is another obscure one. This I'm trying to remember. I don't even remember what all I put in, but this might be the last like obscure one on my list before it starts getting into like the games where everyone kind of agrees. Bloons Tower Defense. Most specifically, number 3. All the Bloons games are fucking amazing, and Bloons franchise is arguably the only franchise where they do get better every single time. Every single entry in their kind of list. Getting an ad on Spotify. Bloons Tower Defense 3 was the one that I put the most time into. I spent a lot of time in school playing this when I was a kid, getting home and playing this. And if there was a good way or an easy way to play Bloons Tower Defense 3 over, what is it? I think Bloons Tower Defense 7 is the new one. Maybe it's 6. I would rather play Bloons Tower Defense 3. It's more simple. So take that for what it's worth. It's not going to have as much replayability as one of the newer ones, of course, but the Bloons franchise as a whole is just so good. Who would have thought a game about popping balloons would be so fun? Guitar Hero 3. Again, this is one where a lot of people would argue maybe isn't the best one. Some people would argue it is. This is kind of like a good debate. Let me see back on. There we go. Guitar Hero 3, in my opinion, is the best Guitar Hero game. It was close because I do like Guitar Hero 2, which, if you're a Guitar Hero fan, usually it's between Guitar Hero 3 and Guitar Hero 2. I liked the music in Guitar Hero 3 more. I liked the story behind it, whatever you want to call it. And I put the most time into Guitar Hero 3, and actually second would be Guitar Hero World Tour. Those are the two I put the most time into, and Guitar Hero 2 would be third on that list. But this has the most legendary Guitar Hero song of all time, which is Through the Fire and Flames, so that's really all it needs. Mario Super Sluggers, number 29. This was the Mario baseball game on the Wii. I believe it's just Mario. Is it just Mario Sluggers for the GameCube? I don't know. But Mario Super Sluggers is the best baseball game of all time. It's just so fucking peak. Essentially, if you've never played this, if you weren't on the Wii, the story mode, you would like go around, you would beat different characters and gain them, and you could like build your roster, kind of like fantasy baseball in a way. And then you would build your team up and you would play Bowser at the end and try and beat his team, and then you beat the story. But then playing this with, like, again, I remember playing this with my brother all the time. You would draft a team, essentially. Like, you would have all the players available in the game, and you would draft one, he would draft one, you would draft one, he would draft one, and you build your team out. And every single one of the players had a different ability. They specialized in different areas. Like Bowser, for example, was a power hitter. Donkey Kong was a power hitter. Toads were really fast, so they were like good base runners, outfielders, so on and so forth. This game was great. I wish there was a way to play it not on the Wii, because I don't own a fucking Wii in 2026. But if I did, this would be the game that I would play above all else. Like, even though obviously it was lower on the list, but more than Super Smash Brawl. Number 28. This is probably the oldest game on the list. I don't know if this is older. Well, aside from Galaga being in the honorable mentions, I don't know if this or Toy Story 2 is older. But Banjo-Kazooie is such a great platformer. Game I grew up on. I played this game over again, and 100%ed it probably 6 or 7 years ago, like during COVID time. And it still holds up. It's still fun. It's still a great platformer. No complaints about it. Number 27, Deus Ex Human Revolution. This game is kind of like an obscure game that I know it's a very popular game, but it's kind of a niche game as well. If you never played the Deus Ex games, they're fantastic. You're in Detroit, and you're like a modified, like half-man cyborg. You're not a cyborg. Let me rephrase it. You're an augmented human, I believe is how they actually use it. But you're like a super cop detective in the game. And Human Revolution is like the best Deus Ex game. It was just really fun. It's a hard game too. Deus Ex is hard. It's one of the hardest gaming franchises I've ever played. 26 is Saints Row the Third. I really wanted to put Saints Row 4 in this list too, because out of all the Saints Row games, I actually spent the most time on Saints Row 4. But Saints Row the Third is the best story. It's funny. It's fun to play. This was the game where the third one was the one where it basically stopped trying to be Grand Theft Auto and did its own thing, and it just went fucking AWOL. You have a dildo bat in this fucking game. It's awesome. You're a gang, but you're like a world recognized, like famous gang member who does like TV and movie ads, and they have like brand spot. If you don't know what Saints Row is, you live under a rock, so I'm not gonna explain it. But great game. Skate 3. In my opinion, this is probably the second best. Don't want to spoil anything, but this is the second best skating video game. In my opinion. This is the most realistic in terms of like the mechanics. This was cool. Tony Hawk, you would go up in the air and you would just spam buttons, and that's how you would do tricks. In Skate 3, you actually had to use your analog stick, and depending on how you moved, it was what trick you did. And essentially, you would move the stick how you would move your foot on a skateboard to do the trick, to an extent, which was really cool. I put a lot of time into Skate 3. Had a lot of fun playing it, and it's a game that like every like 2 or 3 years I still go back and I'll play it for a day and still have a blast doing it. Number 24, the best racing game of all time, Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. I really don't have to say too much about this because this is an older game on the list, of course. This game was fucking amazing. This was so much fun. Had some of the best racing, had the best soundtrack of any video game at the time, in my opinion. Like, even better than, like, the Madden franchises. Best intro. You could play in Detroit, which was cool, because I'm decently close to the Detroit area. So it's cool growing up. Playing a video game where I could like see it. I was only, a little bit of a ways away from playing. It just wasn't always in New York, LA, Florida, which you do play in those cities in here too. But it was such a good game. Number 23, Army of Two. This was again another game that I played with my brother as a kid religiously. For those of you who don't know, this was built to be a split screen, kind of like, what's the games now? Like It Takes Two. It's a co-op, story game where you play as, two characters. You're essentially like soldiers. I mean, you are soldiers, but like private sector soldiers. You wear cool masks, fully customizable guns. Like you go in and you could put like riot shields and shit on your gun. It was just so good. It was such a good game. I wish they made a new Army of Two. This and the second game were both very good. But you can't play it online anymore, which sucks, because I actually wanted to play this with a buddy of mine, and I found out the servers were taken down on this and the second one, which sucks. Number 22, Hitman Contracts for the OG Xbox. This is the best Hitman game. I spent a lot of time on this. I was a silent assassin on every single contract mission in this game. And I still, again, it's packed up in a box somewhere. But I still have, for those of you that are old enough to remember, there used to be, for games like this, there would be like a guides book that you could buy with the game. And it was essentially like a full book, and it would tell you how to do certain things to accomplish certain things, like how to get Silent Assassin on certain missions. It would tell you like who you have to kill, where you have to be at what time, to steal certain uniforms. I have that book. I spent my own money when I was a kid to get that book because I was in love with this game when I was a kid. So much better than the newer ones. The newer ones look better, obviously, but this Hitman game is better than any Hitman game they'll ever produce ever again. SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom is in the 21st spot. Now, they did remake this game, Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, and that remake was amazing. I did play it. I 100%ed it on Xbox, got all the achievements and everything like that. But playing this as a kid, the original one for PlayStation or Xbox, whatever you had, I think it was on GameCube too. I played it on PlayStation 2. But this game was so good. This was the best like platformer game I played as a kid. This was kind of like the first game that was kind of like an open world in a way too, where you could roam around, do certain things to get golden spatulas. This game's so good. This is one of the games where I wish I could go back and experience it as a kid again. Alright, top 20. This is where the list is going to slowly start to become more aligned with what a lot of people have. There's still going to be some obscure ones in there, though. Number 20, Rocket League. Now, the peak of Rocket League, when I played it, it was one of the most fun games I've ever played. One of the most competitive and highly skilled games ever. This was long before I was kind of in the creator world on YouTube or Twitch or anything like that. But just playing threes with your buddies. I played with two of my buddies. Mainly I played with one buddy, and then we would cycle in the third person with a few of our different friends. But I loved playing Rocket League. I spent a lot of time. Rocket League was also kind of like the first game where I actually watched like professionals play it. I would watch RLCS all the time and enjoyed the fucking piss out of it. Rocket League's not as fun as it used to be. If I play Rocket League, you got about an hour worth of Rocket League out of me, and then I'm juiced out of it. It's just because I played so much of it. But peak for peak, this is one of the best multiplayer skill-based games I ever played. Number 19, right after it. This was another one where it was tough on what should I put 20, what should I put 19. But it's going to be Apex Legends. Now, for those of you that do know, I played the piss out of Apex. Played the piss out of it, stopped playing it, came back to and played the piss out of it again, and now I do not play it again. this is the game that I played the second most on my YouTube channel, behind obviously R6. I loved Apex. It was so much fun. Just dropping in with the boys. It was fun. It was really fun, and honestly, what pushed Apex over Rocket League for me was, one, I was better at Apex than I was at Rocket League, peak for peak. I hit Masters in Apex and I hit Diamond in Rocket League. My peak in Apex, I had more fun playing than my peak in Rocket League, is basically what it came down to. Gears of War 3, this was another tough one where I wanted to have all the original 3 Gears of Wars. In Gears of War 2 has the best story of all 3 of the Gears of War's originals. I don't count the new ones because the new ones suck dick. But of Gears 1, 2, and 3, 2 is the best story mode, but 3 has a really good story, and the multiplayer was the best Gears has ever been. Horde mode, the best Horde mode that has ever been in Gears. And then it introduced Beast mode, where you get to play as the Locust and essentially just destroy humans. Destroy the Gears. Gears of War 3 is the Gears I put the most time into. I wish I could go back and play peak Gears 3 again. That was another one where it's like, you know, are you a Halo kid or are you a Call of Duty kid? And I was a Halo kid primarily. But Gears of War was probably second in terms, you know, in front of Call of Duty in terms of like just how much I enjoyed playing the game as a kid. Number 17, of course, I gotta throw my boy in here at least once. Kirby, my favorite video game character of all time. Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. This was peak Game Boy era Kirby. There's not really much I have to say about it. Kirby is such an amazing character. The games are all fun. I really wanted to put one of the newer ones that were out on Switch, but peak for peak, I remember having more fun in this than I did in the new Kirby games. Even though the new Kirby games are amazing. But this was one of like 5 Game Boy games that I would just cycle through over and over and over again and play start to finish over and over and over again. Number 16. Getting an ad. Number 16, I actually don't know. I can't remember if this is my number 1 sports. No, it's not. Okay. Trying to remember where I am in this. This is the best golf game of all time. It was between Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2005 and then PGA Tour 2004. 2004 is probably the most popular Tiger Woods game of all time, but 2005 was the one that I spent the most time in and enjoyed the most. For those of you that have never played this game, because, you know, you're not 30, essentially what you would do, you would create your own character. You would have, you could like play a PGA Tour season, do the events and whatnot. But like the main story mode of this game, what you would do is you would play 5 golfers and you would have to beat them in 1v1s. And then after you beat those 5, you would get to play a legend. The legends, God, it's been so long since I played, but Jack Nicklaus, Ben Hogan, Seve Ballesteros, Arnold Palmer, and then I believe Tiger Woods. And did I say Gary Player? Ben Hogan, and then Tiger Woods was last. You'd have to beat all of the bosses. You would have to beat all the bosses, then you got to play Tiger Woods, and Tiger Woods was broken as fuck. He was just impossible to beat in this game. It was so fun. And this is another game that I remember. I would sit down and play with my family. My mom, this was like the only video game my mom actually like got into and played. So we would play against each other as a family, me, my brother, my mom, my sister, and we would play the piss out of this game with each other. So much fun. So many good memories playing this game. Now, this is the best skateboarding game of all time. Tony Hawk's Underground. They need to stop being cowards, and they need to remaster this instead of continuously remastering all the pro skaters. Tony Hawk Pro Skater is a fantastic game too, don't get me wrong. But in terms of just having fun playing a video game, Tony Hawk's Underground was so much better. The story was fantastic. For those of you who played Fuck Eric, you know what I mean. But even like the first mission, you run into Chad Muska. And then you just get, oh god, it's such a good game. I wish they would remaster this. I'd play the fucking shit out of it again. Number 14, Yakuza Kiwami 2. For those of you who have never played the Yakuza games because you don't want to read subtitles or you don't speak Japanese, like most people don't in America, the story behind these games are so good. You're essentially, in Kiwami 2, there's a ton of Yakuza games, but in Yakuza 2, Kiwami just means it's like the remaster version, because these games are old as shit. But in Kiwami 2, you essentially, you're a gang member, part of the Yakuza, part of the Tojo clan. You're part of the Dojima family. That big ass blonde motherfucker. He's like the final boss. He's like the main antagonist of the game. You fight him. You blow up with a bomb. Spoiler alert. Regardless, you play as Kazuma Kiryu, and it's fantastic. Great game. One of the best like fighting RPG games of all time. And right in front of this is another one where I didn't know which to put where. Yakuza 0. This is the prequel to the Yakuza franchise. You have Kazuma Kiryu right here, who is the main character of basically all the other Yakuza games up until, Judgment and the new ones with Ichiban. And then you have one of the greatest video game characters of all time, which is Goro Majima. In this one, you play as both Kiryu and Majima. Kiryu, you're like an entry-level, low-level member of the Dojima family. You get kicked out because you want out because your dad's in jail. He's the captain, and these lieutenants are trying to take over his spot. And then you have Tachibana and his blind sister. It's all connected. And then Majima is one of the best supporting characters in the Yakuza games. And then you finally get to play as him in 0, which is cool. I put 0 above 2 just because I think there's more replayability in 0. It's a deeper story, and you get to play as Majima, so yeah. For anyone that doesn't know, in Rainbow Six Siege, the Echo skin where you're in a snakeskin jacket, that's this guy. That's this guy. Number 12. I'm sure a lot of you are actually going to be kind of surprised that this isn't higher on my list, considering this is what I built my YouTube channel off of, was Rainbow Six Siege. Backstory on Siege. I was a day one player when it came out in, I think, 2014, late 2014, I believe, because I think it was like Christmas 2014, like around the winter time. Played it, had a ton of fun. Played with my buddies. I met a couple of people off that game too, where I was friends with for a while. Stopped talking to them after we stopped playing the game. And then I had like an 8-year hiatus from the game. And then came back. And that's where I kind of I'll thank Jinxie for that, because I started watching Jinxie, and he was the reason that I got back into the game. I also hate Jinxie for that, because fuck Rainbow Six Siege. But it looked like fun. It's a completely different game now than what it was when I played the first time around. And that's obviously, this game is the one that motivated me to start my YouTube channel. And to this day, I still put Siege content up on there. It's the greatest skill-based first-person tactical shooter of all time. They've kept the game alive for 11 years, going on 12 years. It's a great game. Should it be higher on my list? I really contemplate doing it. Like, it probably should have at least been in the top 10, but I don't think that I can put any... I couldn't leave any game out of my top 10 that's in it. So, as much as I love Siege, in terms of just peak enjoying the game, that's where it falls on the list. Number 11. Pokemon Red. Now, if you play Pokemon games, you know that Red and Blue and Yellow are terrible Pokemon games. They really are. They're not optimized very well. There's no physical special split. The mechanics and the logic behind it was really stupid. You could just use like Persian slash and you would crit every single time because it was based off of your speed. So if you used Persian, you used Electrode, you used Voltorb, Arcanine, Gengar, any characters that are fast, or any Pokemon that are fast, it's just instant crits every time. But this is the game that I played the most. This is what got me into Pokemon. And of course, my boy Gengar, favorite Pokemon, second favorite video game character of all time behind Kirby. It's where he was based out of originally. Yeah, I mean, I've played through Pokemon Red more times than I can count on my hands and my fingers and toes, realistically. I played Red the most. I did play Blue as well and Yellow, but Red was the one that I grew up on. It's the one that I always go back to. Gen 1 Pokemon maybe wasn't the most optimized, but they had the best designs, and it was the most fun I ever had playing Pokemon. All right. We are on to the top 10 video games of all time, in my opinion. So, number 10. Red Dead Redemption 2. This was another game where I really thought it was going to be higher up on my list, but my top 10 is stacked, in my opinion. Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the best pure stories I've ever played. Arthur Morgan is one of the best protagonists in any video game ever. The backstory to Red Dead Redemption 1, of course, which is a great game as well, in my top 100 for sure. But Arthur Morgan, he was such a good character. Dutch, I mean, everyone in the game was so good. Like, Dutch was so good, you loved to hate him because he was fucking mentally insane. You see a transition arc for Arthur Morgan, and honestly, this is one of the saddest games. It's not. It's a spoiler, but it's not a spoiler because the game came out fucking like 10 years ago. But the end of the game, it makes you cry, no matter who you are. It's so upsetting. It really gets you invested. Best cowboy game of all time, too. Number 9, its counterpart, Grand Theft Auto 5. This was another one where Grand Theft Auto 4 is in my top 100. I fucking love Grand Theft Auto 4, but in terms of what Grand Theft Auto 5 has done in the gaming world, it's amazing. The story mode of Grand Theft Auto 5 is amazing. It is not better than GTA 4 story mode. I don't care if that's an L take, but I would rather play the story of GTA 4 any day of the week over 5. But peak for peak, Grand Theft Auto 5 Online is one of the best multiplayer games of all time without question. I spent, again, endless hours with my buddies in GTA 5, and I had such a good time playing it. And the majority of the friends that I play Xbox with, or not, I don't play Xbox anymore, that I play video games with to this day, is because of Grand Theft Auto 5. Story time. I randomly queued into a GTA 5 race lobby. And there were two dudes in there. And they hit me up and said, "Hey, do you got a mic?" I didn't have my mic hooked up, but I ended up plugging in. I was like, "Yeah, I'm here." And one of those two guys, both of those guys, I ended up playing video games with for years, but one of them ended up being one of my good friends at the time, and because of him, I met someone else who is still one of my best friends to this day, and that best friend introduced me into another one of my best friends to this day, who I still play with every week, which is, for those of you that know, it's Colton. I met Colton through the person I met in Grand Theft Auto 5, and then I met Austin, the other main person I play with, through Colton. So I owe a lot to GTA 5, because some of my closest friends that I play video games with and make content with stem from Grand Theft Auto 5. So shout out to people who I met through that game. Shout out Michael and Colton. Shout out Austin. Number 8, Resident Evil 2. Both the original and the remake. The remake obviously is better. You get to see Leon Kennedy's sexy ass. But I really don't have to go over too much on this. This is the best Resident Evil game of all time. In terms of the story, the characters, the development of, how it transpires, and the setting being in Raccoon City. Amazing. Okay. So, I do remember now, this next one, number 7. This is the best sports game. No. This is one of the best sports games of all time. Number 7, NBA 2K11. A lot of people talk about 2K17, 2K13, 2K14 being the best, but 2K11 is what made 2K into what it is today. 2K11 was a fucking powerhouse. It was so much fun. It was difficult. You couldn't just go left, go right, go left, go right, shoot a 3. You actually took skill to be good at NBA 2K11. The Jordan mode was really fucking cool, where you could just do a my player, but you could do it as Michael Jordan. I spent endless amounts of hours doing my players and then franchise modes. This is my most played 2K game of all time. And 2K11 was a game where even as late as like 2022, I went back and I replayed 2K11 because it was better than the other ones. Close second in my favorite 2K would probably be 2K13 with Kyrie, Kevin Durant, and James Harden on the cover. But 2K11, best soundtrack too. Such a good soundtrack. Number 6, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Now, this, not to spoil the rest of the list, this is the best Call of Duty in my opinion. This was the Call of Duty I spent the most time in multiplayer-wise. I grinded the fuck out of this. Pretty sure this is the only Call of Duty where I like maxed out my prestige level too. Using the M16 and using the FAL. Using the model, was it the model 1917s or whatever the fuck they were, the lever action shotguns. Those are so good. And in terms of the story, the single player story, peak. It was the best Call of Duty story ever. And yeah, fuck Shepard. Moral the story. Um okay. Number 5, Halo 3. Easily the best Halo. A lot of people would argue that Halo 2 is as well, which Halo 2 is fantastic, but personally, I spent more time on Halo 3. It had the best multiplayer maps, had arguably the best story mode or campaign. Um Probably the best ending. And this was the first Halo where you got to play split screen with Master Chief and the Arbiter together, which was really cool. Halo 3 multiplayer. I will say I spent more time in Halo Reach's multiplayer than Halo 3, but I thoroughly enjoyed playing Halo 3's multiplayer more. Better maps, better gameplay, gunfights. And this was another game where I played split screen a shit ton with my brother, not just online. Not many games where you can play split screen and have an absolute blast like that. Number 4 is Minecraft. Now, Minecraft is a unique one because in terms of the amount of time that I put into a game, Minecraft is probably top 3. Top 3 total hours logged in a video game. Minecraft is top 3. If you add in Xbox 360 edition, Xbox One edition, Series X edition, I didn't play much in, and I've never played this actually on Java, but specifically the Xbox 360 edition, the shitty vanilla Minecraft, I had so much fun, and I had never been more excited to come home and play a game than when I got Minecraft. So I was introduced to Minecraft via Rooster Teeth, an achievement hunter. I watched the Rage Quit of Minecraft, and they started doing the Let's Plays, and I'll say the first 50 Minecraft Let's Plays from Achievement Hunter and Rooster Teeth were some of the most fun I've ever had watching video games on the TV. Or at the time on my phone. And I had to go get Minecraft. It's such a dumb idea, but it is one of the most addicting, fun, repetitively play and get new experiences ever. And then I was reinvigorated with Minecraft on the Xbox One, and I played a shit ton with my buddies. Yeah. I could argue that Minecraft is the best game of all time. It's not my favorite game of all time, but I could argue Minecraft is the best video game of all time. Number 3. This is the best sports game of all time. I know I said it like 3 times. I kept misspeaking. NFL Street. If you were not young enough, or if you're not old enough, I should say, to remember NFL Street, this was the best football game. This is the best sports game. This is arguably the most fun you've ever had playing a video game. It was essentially backyard football with NFL players, where it was like kind of like taking off of like the street ball vision of basketball, where you would celebrate, you would taunt, you would do this. It was all about swag, it was about style. And essentially what it was a 7-on-7 in football, where you would play offense and defense. So if you had like Tom Brady on your team, Tom Brady would have to be your linebacker or your safety, while he was also your quarterback, and vice versa. Another game that I played a ton with my brother. I wish they would remake NFL Street, but they never will, because EA Big doesn't exist anymore, and EA's cowards, and there's there's not really a way for them to siphon microtransactions out of this. Well, I guess there is realistically, because you could just do the same thing that you do in MUT in NFL Street, and they would ruin it, of course. But NFL Street is a game where I haven't played it in a while. I actually did. I replayed NFL Street 2 with my brother because he has an original Xbox still. And we played that for a little bit a couple years ago. But the original NFL Street, the first one, is the best by far. 2 and 3, they were still good games, but they weren't as good as 1. And it was a system too where you would like, same thing, you would like draft players, or you would like have like a fantasy draft or like a pickup league, where you could like, you would pick a player, then your opponent would pick a player, and keep going. All right, the top 2 games of all time for me. I went back and forth for probably like an hour and a half trying to decide which one goes in which spot, because I think they're both the 2 best single player games that I have ever played in my life. Changed my outlook in gaming, really, because both of these games were probably at like the peak of my I only want to play video games, I don't want to do anything else life. Number 2 is going to be Mass Effect 2. So earlier on the list, I think it was like number 42 or something like that, I had Mass Effect, the original, Mass Effect 1. Mass Effect 2 is the best of the original trilogy. It's the best Mass Effect game. I could argue it's the best like space game of all time too. It had the best story. It looked fantastic. It played fantastic. The side characters were amazing. Miranda Lawson, I wanted to have sex with as a kid for my entire childhood growing up playing this game. She's so hot, and she has a British accent in space somehow. I'm not going to ask questions about that, but like, she was awesome. That's who this is on the cover, by the way. Big ass and big titties. Yeah, it just... Facing the collectors was so peak. The final mission, the suicide mission, oh my god, it was so good. It was such peak writing. Mass Effect 3 was still good, but Mass Effect 3, I think, was not nearly as good as either the first or the second one. And then after that, we don't talk about Andromeda, but yeah. Mass Effect 2, it almost pains me not to have it in number 1, because it's... Mass Effect series, the third one, realistically, has actually made me physically cry with how certain things transpire, because I was so emotionally attached in the game. But, that being said, it can't be number 1, because there is only number 1. One number 1. And the number 1 game in my top 50 of all time is Fallout 3. Fallout 3 changed my outlook on gaming. This was one of the first like true open world survival games that I played. It really is. It's one of the best written games in terms of the story behind it. It's the best story of any Fallout game. The side characters in it that you meet along the way are fantastic. Your companions are great. And there's actually, like, there's repercussions for what you do. In Fallout 3, if your companion dies, they die forever. They are literally out of the game, where in New Vegas, they just faint, which I don't like. I like having a penalty for, you know, what I actually am doing in the game. Penalize me if I make a mistake. But you're in Washington, D.C. Super mutants are like the big bad guys in this. I've never had more fun playing a single player game. than when I played Fallout 3. And on top of that, Fallout 3 has the best DLC of any game ever. I don't care what anyone says. The Pit, Broken Steel, Outlook, they were all so, or Point Lookout, not Outlook. Point Lookout. I literally had the physical discs for those DLCs. That's how much I fucking liked Fallout 3. In Fallout 3, I've gone back and I've played multiple times. I've beaten Fallout 3 probably 20 times, if not more. Why? I don't know why I'm always so attracted. Maybe it is the childhood attachment for me, but like I could boot up Fallout 3 right now and have a fucking blast playing it still. Even though I know exactly how everything transpires, I know where everything is, know what's going to happen here, then, and why. I'm still going to turn it off with a smile on my face after I play it. It's just such a good game. And yeah, that is why it is my number one video game of all time. So yeah, that was my top 50 games of all time, with 10 honorable mentions at the beginning. My list is not like everyone else's. Everyone else, they're going to have Fortnite in it. They're going to have 4 Call of Duties in it. That's just not me. Like, I never enjoyed Fortnite. Let me rephrase that. I hated Fortnite. I enjoyed a lot of the Call of Duties, like Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3. I left out Halo Reach and Halo 2. I left out Gears of War 2. Every single one of these 50 games that were in this list changed or altered how I looked at video games, how I played video games at their specific time. And any single one of those games on the top 50, minus like Rocket League and Apex, I could go play right now and have a fucking blast playing it. And realistically, I could still have fun playing Rocket League and Apex. It would just be for a much shorter time period, but I could go play Fallout 3, have the best time playing I could play for 12 straight hours. Mass Effect 2, I could play the entire game start to finish. Fucking enjoy the shit out of it. I could boot up Toy Story 2, the movie video game, and have a great time playing it. So, that being said, yeah, these were my top 50 games of all time. If you enjoyed, like, leave a like, comment. You know, what are some things that you would change in my top 50 list? What were your top 3 games? I want to know what your guys' top 3 games are. Put it in the comments, let me know. And, we can have a discussion and see what you guys think about it. Let me know what you think about my list. Are there some obscure games in there like Toy Story 2 that you would have never thought would be in someone's top 50 games of all time? But with that being said, I appreciate everyone who watched, checked it out. But yeah, that's going to be all for this video. Peace.